comes into the Hall of Fame, there's one player in particular that I believe should not be in the Hall of Fame. And it's probably going to be a very unpopular opinion. Joe Namath. This guy has a career losing record. The guy has a record of 62, 63 in 4 ties. What do you think his completion percentage was?
Oh, I think I only know this because I did some research before the show. It's less than 50% or right around 50%, right?
50.1. So literally, he would complete 10 out of 20 passes, 20 out of 40. Like it, I and he also, I don't want to, go off on Joe Namath or anything like that, but he played 13 years in the NFL. 11 out of those 13 years, he had more interceptions than touchdowns.
And in that era, everybody talks about like, okay, you can't really compare eras because the quarterbacks didn't throw the ball back in the 60s and 70s the way they do now. But if that's the case, his completion percentage shouldn't be 50%. I mean, if your completion percentage was 50% today, you'd be getting torn apart
Right.
on national TV every Monday. Like you wouldn't have a job. So the fact that Joe Namath, and it seems like his legacy has kind of aged well
Yeah.
over time, but it's all due in fact to that. Like he made a deal with the devil, and the Jets upset the Colts for
Yeah.
the Super Bowl, and this little team from the AFL beat the NFL giant. But honestly, yeah, the completion percentage, the fact that he's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns in his career. I think the only stat that I've heard people use in his favor was that he was the first quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards like 4 times or something. So he threw for a bunch of yards. He was kind of ahead of his time in that respect. But yeah, the completion percentage, the interceptions, the guy was an average quarterback, honestly,
Actually,
statistically.
look up Joe Namath's stats. I don't think he ever actually threw for 4,000 yards. So this is a guy that he played 13 years in the NFL. 11 out of those 13 years, he had more interceptions than touchdowns. He ended up finishing his career with 173 touchdowns to 220 interceptions. So he threw 47 more interceptions than touchdowns. I guess I'm a little confused on how he made 5 Pro Bowls when 11 out of his 13 years, he had more interceptions than touchdowns. A lot of that I think just has to do with him just
threw
playing in New
for
York.
he threw for
And
4,000. He threw for 4,000 yards once.
really,
Oh yeah. He threw for 4,000 yards. I think he was the first quarterback ever to even throw for 4,000 yards. That's what I was thinking of.
okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's just such a mind-boggling stat. 11 out of 13 years, he had more interceptions and touchdowns, but yet he made the Pro Bowl. Bro, I could have thrown more interceptions and touchdowns 11 out of 13 years. Would I would have gone to 5 Pro Bowls, getting into the Hall of
Right.
Fame, playing in New York?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Those New York quarterbacks.
yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with him making that infamous promise about how he's gonna win the Super Bowl, and he was a cool guy. He was in New York. He was around a bunch of women, Madison Square Garden, and he had the legendary fur coat on him. But Joe Namath, I don't understand how you can put someone that completed 50% of their passes, has 47 more interceptions and touchdowns, and somehow he got voted to 5 Pro Bowls. So I'm not sure exactly what the I don't even know how Pro Bowl voting existed back then, because right now I think like 25% is like players, another 25% is like fans or something like that, and then like 50%, I don't know, 50% has to do with own. I don't know how it works, but whatever was going on back then, those guys were on crack.
Thank you for tuning into this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode of This Guy's Sports Talk.